see what we got next.
And that is that people on the right who are focused on the culture wars are people who are not focused on the real issues. And I think what these people fail to appreciate is that the culture war is the real issue. It really is, because culture is upstream of politics. And if you think that simply fighting in favor of particular forms of voter bills or fighting in favor of particular views of economics is enough, that is absolutely wrong. And the reason it's absolutely wrong is because the culture around us is changing.
That's a very interesting comment. I don't agree with them fully. I agree with them that culture is upstream of politics. And that's why I said we're a social movement under the guise of a political party. And I like to say that sometimes just to be a little, what's the word? Provocative. I mean it, but I say it a little bit more provocatively than I mean. But there's a lot of truth to that. But I think he is missing the real point. I drank that Mountain Dew too fast. I'm like having the burp. While culture is upstream of politics, the answer isn't to fight the culture war. The answer is to make politics so small and irrelevant that everybody's preferred culture has a place, and it isn't a zero-sum battle. The only reason we have a quote-unquote culture war is because we are using the force of state to enforce our preferred cultural norms. Remove that, and the whole thing is done. And so, fight your culture war, Ben. It never ends. You may be in the ascendancy one day, then the previously vanquished will rise, and there's nothing more vindictive than the previously vanquished. As we can see, why do you think there are gay people who are out there actively seeking out Christian bakers or whatever to try to drive them out of business? Because the Christians spent a hell of a long time oppressing the gay people, and the previously oppressed want revenge. That's human nature. So fight the war, Ben. Be it all that happens is that things keep getting escalated. What we need to do is so completely reform politics so that a culture war has absolutely nothing to do with it. We need to find a way that everyone can win.
The culture around us is shifting, and that culture is now being inculcated. It is now being interwoven. It's being infused into every institution in American life. And so it won't matter what kind of bills you pass when it turns out that every major institution immediately reacts to those bills by trying to cut off the Republican Party or conservatives or anyone they disagree with at the knees. When it turns out the media won't report the truth. When it turns out that your corporate overlords demand fealty or they will fire you. When it turns out that the education system, your entertainment system, when all of those things militate against everything that you believe in legislatively on economics, it does not matter what you believe in on economics anymore. The battle has to be first won within the institutions. Then you can talk about what exactly is the policy that ought to be promulgated.
Okay, good night, Julian. I'm sorry, this is a long episode, but I will be breaking it down into pieces for my highlights. But thank you for being here. I got behind, and I just figured we're gonna just have a long live stream, and people can come in and go as they see fit. I can't believe I fucked that up. For those of you who are interested, hey, Anarchy Monkey. I'm putting on my magnetic eyeliner so I can put on my eyelashes in case you're wondering, but you probably weren't. Yeah, so it's funny where Ben's bemoaning the corporate overlords who will deny you a job or this or that. Ben, the conservatives did that to the liberals in the past. You're getting as good as you gave. I don't think it's right. But I also don't think you have much spot to complain, because I remember when the righteous Christians were trying to get Ellen DeGeneres fired from her makeup advertisements with JCPenney's because, God forbid, she wasn't straight. What the hell did that have to do with makeup? She's beautiful. She wears makeup well. That's all that's required. I don't care who she's going to bed with. So, conservatives, You're getting as good as you gave. Now, maybe if everyone would put down the weapons, we could get somewhere. But as long as there's this constant tit for tat, you're not going to be in power forever. And that goes for both sides. Right now, the left is in power, and you don't like it very much, do you? Well, that's how they felt when the conservatives were in power. And I hate it when you both are in power. So I guess I'm miserable all the time when you're only miserable half the time. Sucks to be me.
Yes, policy matters. But you know what matters more? The durability of the policy. Because you can pass something today. And if you have a culture that is shifted around you, it doesn't matter one iota. This is what you see even in leftist places like California. You'll remember that in 2008, Proposition 8 in California passed. Proposition 8 was a proposition to enshrine traditional marriage as the law in California. It passed fairly with solid numbers. And within a few years, anybody who had even supported Proposition 8 was being thrown out of a job. Brendan Eich over at Mozilla Firefox famously supported Proposition 8. By the way, so did Barack Obama at the time. He was in favor of traditional marriage. And yet, within just a few years, even having supported it, even though it was a majority position in 2008, meant that you are now some sort of societal pariah. So when people on the right say, why are we fighting the culture wars? It's a distraction. It's a distraction from the real issues. No, the culture war is the real issue, and all of the legislation is an outgrowth of the culture wars.
No, it's not the real issue, Ben. The real issue is that government is too big, and it's not limited to the bare minimums of what government, if it should exist, should be. If all the government did was enforce contracts, so in other words, courts, police, military, then none of that would matter. None of it. Why were you even concerned about laws with gay marriage? How the is that your business? And yeah, that was ridiculous what the left did going after people like that. I'm just trying to get this. It takes a long time for this magnetic liner to dry. And tell you what, I thought it was so ridiculous that I did put my actions where my mouth is, and I have never used Mozilla Firefox since. Because I thought what they did was completely and absolutely shitty. And how many years has that been? I still haven't used them. I used to have a website that on every single page, and there were hundreds of pages, that said this site is best used on a browser that doesn't suck like Firefox. And I didn't mean suck like Firefox. I worded that wrong. I was recommending Firefox rather than Internet Explorer, which I called Internet Destroyer, which sucked. That's like, I used to be a huge Mozilla fan. They pulled that shit, done. And it's been years, and I still haven't used them, and I will not, because that was a shitty thing to do. Anyway, yeah, but it should be irrelevant. It should be absolutely irrelevant. You stop making culture and politics coextensive, and there will not be those wars.
Now, this is nothing new. You've seen the left attempt to do this before. The NCAA attempted to remove basketball games from North Carolina when a bill passed that would have prevented localities from allowing biological men into women's bathrooms.
Okay. Well, why are you trying to dictate what private businesses do? They can let into their private business bathrooms whoever they want to. What is this freaking obsession about bathrooms? I just don't get it. But it's funny. He's complaining about the left, and I'm keeping my eyes closed because I don't want to get this eyeliner all over the place. So he's complaining about the left leveraging corporate power to punish states that were using the force of government to try to impose their cultural norms on other people. Seems like you two were just in a game of mutually assured destruction. I don't feel sorry for either damn one of you.
You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business, not because they want to